right in the end. I said that Bayern Munich would win on the night, but they'd lose on aggregate, and it happened. And you said PSG would go through as well, and it happened. So it was
Yeah.
just
But
nice.
to
But
be fair, PSG missed so many good chances, man. So
they
it
didn't
could have
have
gone.
that.
It could have
Yeah,
gone.
they had that.
Yeah.
They had that. They were missing that final pass that we said previously as well. The Neymar chance, the one that hit the post, all of that is crazy. But it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. I think we're live now, actually. So yeah, let's go. Welcome everyone to our Europa
Mm.
League preview. We're doing this on a Wednesday because I'm back to work tomorrow, so that'll be quite fun. But Maher's joined us again, and we thought we'd carry on with our little previews that we've been doing. So Europa League time, Maher. Let's start with Arsenal. How are you looking forward to Slavia Prague versus Arsenal? Let's get straight into it, shall we?
Okay, so obviously I did say last week was the biggest game of the season. I mean, this is like a cup final, man. This is everything rides on this, man. Not just for Arteta, but like the whole club. Like we've been out of the Champions League for what 3, 4 years now, and
Mm-hmm.
if we go another season without Champions League, I mean, we could go another season without European football. So I can't remember the last time Arsenal weren't in a European competition. So if we get knocked out, then it will be disastrous in terms of the club's finances. I mean, the club itself is not in a great shape at the moment as it is. So the fact that if we get knocked out tomorrow and we're out of Europe altogether, it's not just Arteta's it's not just Art it's not just Arteta's job on the line. It could be like I'd say Eddie's job in the line as well, because we've seen how for example, how Raul Sanllehi came into the club and he was meant to be this, head of football operations, sporting director. Um, he bought a couple of players that are quite iffy, and he's been shown the door straight away. So I feel like post Arsene Wenger, the board have been a bit more active in terms of boardroom changes and hierarchical logistics changes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I'm giving you like a view of how massive this game could potentially be, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. So it's a massive game. But I think we'll win. Actually, I'm more confident than I was in the first leg. Actually, I feel more confident because of the fact we're chasing the game,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have that pressure on us. We know what to do, and I feel like with Arsenal, we're very good at that. We're very good at you know, going for a game when there's no pressure. We saw it against West Ham, for example. We're 3-0 down, half time. There was nothing to lose. Like we went and um 3. So I feel we're better at chasing the game. So maybe that could be a blessing in disguise, that last minute goal. But that's just me. Like, but obviously there's always gonna be no's.
So, what did you notice last week about Slavia Prague when you were watching the game? Obviously, you were distraught by the whole last minute equalizer, but did you notice any key play that they had, or any really good plays that they had for
Yeah.
Slavia Prague? What did you kind of notice from them? And do you reckon they have it in them to actually get through to the semi final?
I think, do you know what? Yeah, overestimated this team. Sorry, underestimated. Sorry, overestimated, because I saw
Yeah.
Slavia Prague. I'm like, I saw them against Leicester and Rangers, the league form, and I'm like, this must be like a decent team. And then we played against them, and I'm like, they're not really all that. Like, I'm sorry, but it feels like a decent team in the Premier League. Like, let's say an Everton. I reckon Everton will
Mm.
beat them, because I saw nothing in that game to suggest that they're actually that really good. Because the amount of times we had chances, oh my god, Lacazette, Saka, Aubameyang when he came on, the amount of chances, like they hardly created anything. So I came away from that game thinking, how on earth did we not put that? We should have won the game 4 or 5-0. So
Hmm.
I came away from the game thinking they're not all that, man. And if they do go through to the semi-finals and beat us, Villareal will beat them any day. So
Yeah,
that's
but
why. That's
don't
that's
you kind
also
of
why
see
I'm
it?
quite confident.
Don't you see it as contradictory? Because you said a decent team would beat them, but Leicester are third
Yeah,
in the league or fourth in the league, but they couldn't beat them. So what is it that
yeah,
Arsenal
yeah.
have
I
got
get
that
that.
Leicester haven't? Like, just so I can understand personally, but it doesn't matter who.
I think okay, maybe I'll revise that and I'll say a decent team that can actually with Leicester, they're a very good team, but I feel like with Leicester, they're a bit more. I think they're a bit more counter attacking, and I feel like with someone like I don't know. I just the amount of times we cut it, we broke. Like if you watch the game, like we're not really good. I
Hmm.
just say that we're not really good. But the fact that we had so many chances in that game, tell me a game in the Premier League where we've had so many chances like in a game. We've had like one or two. That's about
Hmm.
it. But in that game, the amount of times we opened them up, um, and that's why I'm quite confident where we might go on to beat them tomorrow because of what I saw in the first leg. I just don't rate their chances. Um, which is different from what I imagined in the first. In the first leg, I gave them more respect because of what they did and their league results. But like when I saw them play, I'm like, nah, like we should have won 4-5-0, and that's why I feel like we'll beat them. So I'm quite confident. Last week you saw me like quite bricking it before the game,
Hmm.
but I'm actually confident we'll win. That's how I'm. That's just me personally.
But that's kind of what I needed to understand as well. The fact that you've got what Slavia Prague on Thursday, and you had a really good
Yeah,
game against Sheffield United on Sunday as well, and that was really good to see how um,
yeah.
we, we kind of saw the difference in Arsenal from the fact they actually put away their chances. Lacazette was really good.
Do you know
Didn't have to
what?
rely on a counter attack like you did with Pepe last week as well. But it's just with this Slavia Prague team, are they likely to sit back, or do you reckon you could actually take them again on the counter? Do you
I
reckon they'll
think I
learn their
think
lesson
no,
from it?
I think they'll sit back because of the lead I think it's that result is that result will make them sit back.
Hmm.
But they played the Prague derby on the weekend and they won.
Yeah.
So I don't know their team inside out, but because it was a Prague derby, I imagine they played a full strength team because of that. So I reckon because they might be a bit more fatigued after that match, whereas we we come away from a nice easy game against Sheffield. A lot of people said before the Sheffield United match that this is like a dead rubber game. I did as well. Like I
Mm.
initially said it's a dead rubber game. Then the more I thought about it, I was like, do you know what? Actually, this is quite a little bit of an important game because it gives us like momentum, gives us confidence, it gives us that players being more they know where a player is because I imagine Mikel Arteta is going to play the same team against the same team he played against Sheffield United as he um, the same team he played against Sheffield United. I think he'll play the same team against Slavia.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I kind of know what the team is will be to be honest because I know Arteta. So
There we go. We're down to the preview now, and
yeah.
let's go for the result. Do you think Arsenal will win, and what do you reckon the scoreline will be today or tomorrow? Actually, Mario, as we're recording
I
this.
think so. The team news. I think he'll play Leno in goal. He'll play Chambers at right back. He'll play Holding and actually he'll play. I think he'll play Murray. I think Gabriel's been a bit iffy the last few weeks.
Hmm.
Murray reminds me of kind of a Mertesacker. He reads the game quite well.
That's good.
He could play.
Cedric
I
again
did
or Saka left
no.
back.
So he played Granit Xhaka left back against Sheffield United, which came as a surprise to everyone. So he played
Don't
Xhaka
you
left
want?
back.
Don't you want him in
Um,
midfield though? Like Xhaka, Partey,
I
Xhaka. Well,
do you know
Partey was
what
poor
I said?
actually, to be fair, but Xhaka or Nenny. Where would you play Xhaka after he was done quite well the last few games? He did really well last week against Slavia Prague as well. But where would you start Xhaka in this game?
So I initially like after the game against Sheffield United, I initially said I'd rather Xhaka play midfield because he's needed there more.
Mm.
However, having thought about it more, and because of the game Ceballos is man of the match against Sheffield United. But having seen Ceballos play, and I would rather. I think we're more. I think he might be more needed at left back than he is in central midfield. Not in the long term, but
Just for
just
this
for this
game.
game. Because of the form Ceballos showed against Sheffield United, I think Partey and Ceballos is more needed in that game. And because we need to win, Ceballos in that midfield is more needed than a Xhaka, where Xhaka likes to sit and dictate the game. Ceballos is more of a free. He likes to roam. He's good at turning in the half turn.
Hmm.
Um, he likes to break the lines a lot. He's passing, although he frustrates me a lot because he can be so inconsistent. But he reminds me of like an Ander Herrera in
Hmm.
terms of like the way he moves about the pitch. He's in terms of the Arsenal players, I think he's the top player in the Arsenal squad that's actually on tackles one. He's the top Arsenal player in the
Oh,
whole
okay.
season. So that goes to show how that's one strength of his game. Party was really good at Sheffield United in the second half rather than the first half, so he'll play. And then the team news in terms of injuries, Arteta's press conference said today that Saka's back from the injury because we all thought Saka's injury against Sheffield United meant that he'll be out for a few weeks, but he's actually back apparently. So
That's good
he's
to
going to play
see.
Saka, probably play Saka number 10, which is he hasn't really played there that much, but he'll play number 10.
Is Smith no
Um,
Smith Rowe not available?
okay, yeah, apparently Smith Rowe's back as well. Apparently, so but I wouldn't start. I wouldn't start Smith Rowe. But I'll start Saka number 10. I think he'll play number 10. He'll play Pepe out wide, and he'll play Martinelli. I'm hoping he plays Martinelli because he has to. If he plays
Mm.
Willian, then if he plays Willian, he'll play Martinelli because the Sheffield United post-match press conference, there was this Arsenal journalist called can't remember if it was James Benge or Charles Watt. It was one of them two. They kept on pressing him about Martinelli, and with the club, with journalists that are affiliated with the club, they
Yeah.
tend to ask questions that the fans want. So that's whereas the national journals they tend to ask questions, general like the general stuff, sort of stuff. So you could tell like James Benge, Charles Watt, they're Arsenal fans as well. So they kept on pressing about Martinelli to him. And Arteta's response was, "Yeah, you're pressurizing me." That's always his response, but he smiled at the same time. So I think he'll play Martinelli instead of Willian, and then he'll play Lacazette up front. So I think he'll play the same team against Sheffield United. So I think we'll win about. I think we'll win 2-0. I think we'll win
Oh,
2-0.
okay. Yeah, I reckon it could go to extra time with this one. I reckon Slavia Prague will take you there. I reckon,
Okay.
like we saw with Slavia Prague previously, they're no mugs. They're beating Leicester, they're beating Rangers, but I don't think they can beat Arsenal. I don't think they can beat Arsenal the way that they're playing at the moment. Obviously, I'd love to see
Yeah.
Arsenal out of the Europa League, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're going to get through to the next round, but in extra time.
Mm,
Personally, that's how I see it. But it could easily be
yeah.
like it was going to be another 1-1. Arsenal really need to finish their chances, but like we've seen before against Benfica, against Olympiacos, you got the job done in the end and you got through. Especially that Benfica second leg as well. That was brilliant the way you just came back and you showed some character as well. But yeah, that was a nice little preview for the Arsenal game. We've gone through a little key battles and everything, but it's just the fact that if these players are fit, Arsenal really have no excuses really to not
Mm,
get through. And like you said, it's do or die, not just the financial ramifications, which you hear a lot with Arsenal in the Champions League, but the fact that you really need to get to this, get a trophy, and keep Arteta kind of looking at building his team a bit more as well. Look and see who's the characters in this game as well. But yeah, quite happy with that. That was our little preview for the Slavia Prague versus Arsenal game. This one will keep it light and easy. It's Man United versus Granada at home. We've got quite a few suspensions. What are your first thoughts on the game so far? Did you watch any of the highlights last week for the Granada game?
no, do you know what? I forgot to watch the highlight. I was meant to because I was so annoyed about that Arsenal match here. Normally I'd watch the other matches as well on the highlights, but I forgot to watch the highlights. So I'll after this stream I'll go watch it because I
Mm.
haven't seen the match at all. I haven't seen. I just know the result, but it sounded like it was a very comfortable win for United.
It was comfortable. Granada tried to like kill the game really early with like slow play, with like drawing fouls all the time, and it just didn't work. Lindelof did an amazing long ball from the back. Rashford scored, and there's another penalty for Bruno Fernandes to make it 2-0 in the last game. Granada won 2-1 on the weekend
Yeah,
away to Valladolid, so they won 2-1, and they're now
yeah.
eighth in La Liga. But it's just the fact that with Man United, we've got quite a few suspensions. So there's no Luke Shaw,
It's an
no
easy game, man.
Maguire.
Yeah, you
There's
can rest a lot. You can rest players for the. I don't know. Do you have a game this weekend? Or
Yeah, we should do. I think we're playing Burnley at home. I think we are anyway. I'm probably wrong, but I know we're playing someone at home. But it's just the fact
okay,
that we've got quite a few suspensions at the moment, and it's
yeah.
just one of those that we put a really professional performance in. I said that on the watch along last week. I said that we've got quite a few players that are going to be out suspended, but really can't
Mm.
afford to slip up,
You
as a term.
probably start. Maybe you might see Diallo start. Maybe.
I'd like to see him start, but I'd like to see like Dan James start again. He played all right last week. It's just he doesn't have that end product just yet as well. But it's just how he wants to start or how he wants to play. Probably play Matic, Fred, Pogba in the midfield. Maybe give Bruno Fernandes a bit of a break. I personally would get starting from the bench. Cavani, I wouldn't drop him. Martial's injured, I think, but it's just the fact that got to get a few of these people back onto like proper match form, get a bit of confidence as well. And the 2-0 advantage is something that I don't see us really losing. Again, against Granada, we did really well. We put professional performance in, but I'm quite happy with this preview. I think we're going to win 2-0 again. I reckon
Just
it's one of those things. Sorry, carry on.
yeah, just on that, yeah, nothing to do with the actual tactic formation, but I saw Ollie's press conference today, and he was talking about some sort. Did you see it? Where he was talking about the red seats or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
That's,
I don't know what he meant by that.
so basically, with the red seats, how it works is it's just the fact that when the kits are in red, Man United are playing red, the backdrop of the seats is all in red, so they can't actually see their
Mm.
players properly because it's bright red, and now they've changed it to
Oh,
black.
okay.
So it's kind of like a cricket board when you've got the white board and the red
Mm.
ball's coming through as well. The red is different to white, but I don't really see that as an excuse personally. I don't really see that how.
That
Um,
just reminds me of. Do you remember in the mid 90s when I think United played Southampton away and you lot wore grey shirts or something? And Fergie halftime was like,
yeah,
"Nah, we're not wearing this."
we're not wearing that kit ever again, and they never did,
Yeah,
which was crazy. But yeah, that's kind of how I see the team, and I feel
yeah,
like there's going to be a big change in our fortunes going forward. I reckon we will win. I don't think
yeah.
Granada will have enough to kind of overturn the lead, and I don't see how we can really play a lot of our stronger players personally. But how do you kind of see this game? Do you see it as like an
I
easy?
see. I'd say easy. But then saying that, wasn't it the last I think it was against who was it? Spanish team, Sociedad. I think there was I think one of the legs where you were already through anyways, and it was like a dead rubber, but yet it wasn't like you didn't win like 3 or 4 nil. So I think maybe because of that, you might win like maybe like a 1-0,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it was 0-0 that game because Twinzabi scored a goal that was disallowed, and
Yeah.
we won 4-0 with 4 away goals as well. But yeah, we're playing Burnley on the weekend, and
Mm,
Maguire will be rested, Shaw will be rested, McTominay will be rested as well, and it's just I see it as a clear win for Manchester United. I think it's probably the easiest prediction
yeah.
I'll go for. Another 2-0 win. I don't really see us. I'd like to see players like Matic start, get them some match fitness,
Mm,
get them back into the game and get them quite sharp because we'll need them at the business end of the season coming off the bench. But it's a nice time to kind of replace a few players and
yeah.
keep them fresh for the Premier League. And there are whispers around Man United fans and forums and Twitter accounts that Man City could slip up because we're only 8 points difference if we win our game in hand. But I don't see that personally. I'd love to see it, but I don't see it personally. But yeah, 2-0 for Man United. Key battles again. It will just be I'd say a midfield battle, Gonalons versus Matic, but it just depends on who starts. Again, like I said, I want to see
Mm.
Van der Beek start a couple games here and there before the end of the season. He can do a bit better than that. But any predictions? Any key insight to the Man United versus Granada game, or I think we can move on from here.
I think you. Yeah, it's just a. I think United will win like a 1-0 probably. Yeah,
Mm,
a 1-0.
one 1-0. It really should be something that we should slip up because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer
Mm.
needs a trophy, and that's how I see it personally. But let's move on to one of the most exciting games of the tie so far. Roma versus
Yeah,
Ajax. That's one I
yeah.
want to talk to you personally because I enjoyed those highlights last week. Obviously, I was doing a watch on, so I couldn't watch it, but
Mm.
just following along with the fact that Roma came back in that game and they've got 2 away goals and they're back at home, and Ajax really have to chase this game. But let me hear your first thoughts on this. Well, obviously Roma they lost. No, yeah, they lost on the week. No, they won on the weekend. But Ajax won
Mm.
on the weekend as well. But Ajax are first, Roma are seventh. But how do you kind of see this game going? I want to see who
It's
you reckon we could face in the semi-final.
it's so interesting because I put Ajax as favourites before that match, but and they played really well. They created a lot of chances. I think it was like 2/3 of the possession they held,
Hmm.
more shots on target than Roma, but it was they weren't clinical at all, and they had like a rookie goalkeeper called I think his name is Shepherd or something in goal, and I think he fumbled one of the goals. So they had both teams had a lot of injuries in that match, but yeah, Ajax should have really won that game. But I was surprised Roma did come back into it. Um, this one's difficult. This is um, I'd I'd still based on the first match, I think Ajax. I still think Ajax will go through based on what I saw, but
Mm.
it's not like I'm not convinced. It's not one of them where I'm convinced. It's like I'm a bit like it's such a 50-50 game, but I'm only saying it because of because of how many chances Ajax had. But obviously, football is
Mhm.
not about that. Football is about putting the ball in the back of the net ultimately. But looking at the teams, yeah, Roma won against Bologna. They're seventh.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to think. Smalling and El Shaarawy are doubtful.
Yeah.
Uh, So Kumbula and Zaniolo are also like they're gonna miss the rest of the season. So
Yeah, nothing much to change from the injuries
yeah,
from last week as well. So it's going to be the same kind of team, I'd say. I don't really see how Roma will change much from last week, and obviously because they
mm,
won, I don't see why they really should, and they won on the weekend as well. But um, I kind of see this game going as a Roma win. Roma at home. Obviously, there's no fans, but I don't see how they can mess up in this game. I don't see how Ajax can overturn this. I want to see Ajax more than Roma in the semi-final personally. I reckon Ajax would be a nice team to face. They play a good
yeah,
round of football. Ten Hag, we mentioned last week, was a really good coach to kind of watch and like appreciate his way of football. Obviously, the whole Champions League run a couple of years ago kind of brought Ajax again onto the footballing map in Europe. But
mm,
realistically, I don't really want to see a team of Dzeko, Pedro, Pellegrini as a front three against our Man United defense in the semi final. But with those front three, I see them
Pedro, Xhaka. You you
that
think you won't be able to handle players like Pedro and Xhaka who are in their what
they're
end
in
of their
their
careers?
they're in their twilight years, but they still get goals and they get results, and they have done for a number of years. That's what I don't see, and that's why I don't see people like appreciating that. Like that, they're still scoring goals, they're still doing well. It's not like they're retired or they're out of the game or anything like that. And I just don't see how um, I just don't see
Yeah.
how Ajax can kind of take on that. Obviously, if they defend properly and Martinez does really well at centre back and Tagliafico can handle Pedro and Pellegrini swapping between the wings,
Mm,
then it's fine. But my main battles is going to be from Roma's defense and Ajax's attack. If Ajax can actually get through, Broby didn't start like I thought he would last week. It was Tadic, like you
yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Anthony and Neres, the wingers, obviously they probably should start the Brazilian wingers that they've got against the likes of Mancini, Ibanez as a back three as well. You've got Karsdorp and Calafori, who may be the wing backs. They may be the wing backs
Mm.
next week. Not next week. Next tomorrow. But I see another 2-1 win for Roma. I don't see Ajax coming back from this. How do you kind of see this one?
Um, I don't know. I feel yeah. I think it's so hard to predict because of the first match, but I think it just depends on. I think it depends on Ajax's start because
Mhm.
I thought Ajax started really well, but if they start well, I think they might nick a goal in the first 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
then it's game on. So
Ooh. Sorry to interrupt. Roma's players available have just been made present. So let me just name out a few. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, you've got
yeah,
Mayoral, you've got Perez, Pedro, Dzeko, Mkhitaryan's back in the squad. That's big
yeah.
news.
But will
Diawara's
he
there,
play? I don't think he'll
Pellegrini.
play.
He will be
That's
on the bench, I
yeah,
reckon. But it was still good to see Mkhitaryan back, not as an opposition
yeah, yeah.
fan, but for a Roma or for a neutral fan, Mkhitaryan will be back and in the team. But that's quite big news. I thought I'd just shout that out whilst we're live, obviously. But that was quite cool to see.
Mm.
Um, Mkhitaryan, obviously, if he's getting back to full fitness, he could easily get there in the semi final as well. But sorry, you were saying beforehand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just that's about it in terms of yeah. I think Ajax they need to go. They'll want to go for the win. Ajax typically as a club and as a team, it's not they it's not in their DNA to sit back. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm,
it's like the first 20 minutes, I can see them pushing up the field a bit more, and because of the times they created chances a lot in the first leg, I can see them doing that again. And bearing in mind Roma are not having the greatest of seasons in Serie A. Um, I still think Ajax might sneak through.
yeah, I reckon. Like with me, like I said, I'm comfortable predicting Roma, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ajax came through. Obviously, the character they've built over the last
Yeah,
few years and everything like that. Um, I just don't see how. I personally don't see how Ajax and Roma can
mm,
really mess this up because both of them have it in them to actually win the Europa League. That's how I see it. That's my prediction. But it's just the fact that
yeah,
I don't. How can I explain it in a nice way? Both of them really should be like finalists in a way. That's the way I see it. It's just annoying that one of these teams are going to go out in the next round, and we won't be able to see them. But like I said, Roma 2-1. It'll be a big difference in how Ajax have to play attacking wise as well, actually finishing their chances, and that's kind of how I see it. But let's move on to the third and final game that we've
mm,
got. Villareal home to Dynamo Zagreb. So let's have a look. 1-0 Villarreal last week. We said Villarreal could win. I said Zagreb would win on the tie. Um,
Yeah.
but I think my mind is going to be changed. I don't see how Villarreal can mess this up. I keep using this term, but Villarreal, Unai Emery, he's a man on the mission at the moment, isn't he? He's someone
Yeah.
that wants to
I
face
did
Arsenal
tell
in that
you. I did
semi-final.
tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I said as well. We don't want to see we want to see as neutral as a narrative of Arteta versus Emery. You may not want
Yeah.
to see that as an Arsenal fan, but what are your first thoughts on this Villarreal versus Dynamo Zagreb game? Do you reckon Zagreb can actually pull it back, or do you reckon it's Villarreal that's going to
No.
go through?
No. As much as I want Zagreb to win, I feel the first match Villarreal outplayed them.
Hmm.
Um, Unai Emery, this is his competition, man. Like, if there's one competition where you can just not to like progress to the last stages, it's Unai Emery.
Hmm.
Um, Villarreal, I know, Zagreb's got a new manager, apparently. So, and I think they played they also played in a derby in the weekend. I don't know if it's called the Zagreb derby, but it was a Zagreb derby,
Hmm.
and they won 2-0. So I imagine they played a strong team because it was a derby. I'm pretty sure Villarreal rested players in the weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, because
But
Orsic
yeah,
was rested
I
on the
think it's
weekend as
straightforward.
well.
They're
Was
playing at
back.
home as well.
Orsic was rested on the weekend
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
All right. Yeah.
Kevin Catherine was rested on the weekend as well.
Okay. So,
Quite a few players were, to be fair. Mayer started, but it's just the fact that they want this win, Zagreb. They want to see how they kind of can get through
mm,
to the semi final. And I don't think there's going to be a better chance for Dynamo.
Villarreal rested players as well. Yeah. Like
Did they?
Villarreal rested yeah, like Gerard played 45 minutes, and then you had the
Mm.
likes of like Chigueros, Chikwueze, Pedraza, Capu, Pau Torres. They did not play like the full game. So
Torres will be fit as well, so that will be good to see how he kind of plays in this game as well. And like I
yeah,
said last week, Pau Torres, one of those sought after centre backs in European football at the moment. Man United want a left centre
yeah.
back as well, but it'll be a good game to see how Orsic and Benkovic and Mayer can actually take on this
This is a
Villarreal game.
game. Yeah. This is a game where obviously I'm going to be watching Arsenal because they were at the same time. I'll be watching the
Mm.
Arsenal match. But if we are winning and it comes to like the 70th, 80th minute and I'm confident that we'll go through, that's when I'll be like pumped up because I'll probably know that Villarreal will go through. But yeah, it's a game that I'd have like one eye on in like the latter stages, probably.
Mhm. Because
Yeah.
with Villarreal, like you said as well, they're not really going to be challenging for the top four at the moment. They're seventh, but I don't see how they're going to
Yeah.
break this top four at the moment. So this is their way of getting into the Champions League. Unai Emery, like you said, they've won it He's won it previous times as well. There is winning experience in this team, but is that going to be another kind of
Yeah.
fairy tale ending for Dynamo Zagreb? Do you reckon they can end up getting a victory? I personally don't. I reckon my mind has changed after last week's performance,
I
and
don't.
I don't see how Zagreb can
I
win
think
and
I think it'll be
overturn.
comfortable Villarreal win.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely
Yeah,
fine.
I think 2-0 Villarreal.
I think it'll be something like 3-1, 3-2 Villarreal. I reckon Paco Alcacer, Bacca, Moreno, whoever of those two start, three of the two starts, because they'll be playing a 4-4-2 like they did last week as well. They'll end up winning the
Yeah.
game. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of how we see it for the quarterfinals. But for semi-finals, like I said, it could be Man United versus Roma or Ajax, and I'm quite annoyed at that because that could easily be a final. But Villarreal versus
Mm,
Arsenal, I see that as a semi-final. How do you see that kind of going if you were to get Villarreal in the semi-final?
yeah. Sorry? Say that again?
How do you kind of see it if Villarreal get into the semi-final and you face Villarreal in the semi-final?
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? It will be so tricky because Unai Emery knows our players inside out. So
Mm.
uh, I think it'll be fair to play Villarreal, but I have a sneaky feeling if we did play Villarreal, I don't think we'd progress, to be honest. I'm just being realistic.
I'd say that you could actually progress against this Villarreal side with the team that you've got, with the players that you've got,
I don't
playing
know.
on the counter attack.
Maybe it's because of the season. Yeah, maybe
In
it's because of the season we've had. It's been atrocious. This club has made me into someone I'm usually such an optimistic person, but this season has been so trash that
Mm.
when I see Unai Emery, yeah, and like his record in this competition, like he wins the competition, he gets to finals. Villarreal have been impressive in the Europa League this year. So that's why I'm feeling actually, yeah, maybe when it's closer to the time and Arsenal start to like pick up in the Premier League in terms of form, then I'll probably change my mind and be more optimistic. But right now, I'm not can't be that optimistic about it.
I mean, your form recently hasn't been that bad. Obviously, you lost to Liverpool, but you showed some character against West Ham. You won against Sheffield United. You've got the Slavia Prague game tomorrow as well. But it's still there's still reason to be hopeful as well going forward. But um, like for me, I'd say that Arsenal could beat this Villareal side. But again, that might just be the Premier League fan in me.
Yeah.
I want to see an all English Premier League final. I don't really want to,
But
but
that's what a lot of but that's what a lot of fans do. They feel like they look at the name like Arsenal, Villarreal, automatically means Arsenal should go through. But when you actually dissect like context,
the
I'm just
actual
like,
team.
yeah, I'm literally like looking at the context and like delving right in like the two teams, the two situations, and whatnot. So yeah,
And then with Man United, they could face either Rome or Ajax as well. And like I said, there's a few players for Roma who are like, oh yeah, we want revenge for the 7-1 that was like 13, 14 years ago for some reason or other. But I don't see why
yeah,
that would be revenge for them unless they're actually fans of it. But
yeah,
Man United facing against Roma against the likes of Smalling and Mkhitaryan if they're back fit again, that would be quite nice to see because obviously they were big players for us when we won the Europa League in 2017. Again, Daley
mm,
Blind for Ajax as well. Again, he was a big player for us in that Europa League run as well. But I kind of see it as Man United are the favourites in this competition. It's not very many times you can see Man United as favourites, but I don't see how we can actually mess up because
yeah,
last season, Inter Milan versus Sevilla, everyone was going for Inter Milan, but Sevilla just had that final experience of actually winning tournaments in the Europa League, and they did that. So it's anyone's game, but Man
yeah,
United, it's Man United's tournaments to lose. Basically, that's how I see it.
yeah, yeah. Favorites, you are
Mhm.
favorites.
Yeah, I think he just froze there. Never mind, that's fine. But yeah, that's our little preview done of the Europa League going forward. Again, we're both exhausted from Ramadan, as you can see. But yeah, we'll look forward to the games tomorrow. Tonight we've got Liverpool versus Real Madrid. We did the preview for that yesterday. Find it on our YouTube channel. And again, we did the Dortmund versus Man City preview yesterday, which is on our YouTube channel as well. But thank you everyone for your time. Thanks for watching and take care. See you later.